Hello survivors and welcome to the Apocalypse Post. I'm Makeshift, your host, and today I'm going to review a new game that you're probably going to love called Surviving the Aftermath. This is a city builder and strategy game heavy on exploration and resource and disaster management. If you like games like SimCity and Fallout Shelter, then you're going to love this one. But before we start, I want to show off my new t-shirt featuring Wasteland Weekend's Magister of Undertown, the Baron. It's designed by Rust Devil Critical Bigg and available for sale along with a bunch more awesome wares on his TeePublic store. I'll link that in the description below. Okay, let's open up Surviving the Aftermath. You start out by customizing your game. The choices you make in the beginning are going to make this game either a casual builder all the way to a stress-inducing crisis management game. In general, I found level 2 all the way across left the game challenging while still being able to survive, avoiding the frustration of having survivors die too fast. Choices like the number of initial survivors and available resources change the difficulty of the game. Seeing the different landscapes from fertile earth to a complete desert wasteland make a huge difference. Okay, so now you start the game and you've got practically nothing to start. You have to build up your settlement. Your first priorities are shelter, food, water, the necessities. And the game does a really good job of teaching the controls and the needs of your new little society. There's a lot of upgrades available, whether it's swapping your tents for shanties and then eventually houses, or using your tech tree to get the most out of the structures you've already built. As you explore further out from your home base, you'll encounter polluted areas, wild aggressive animals, and find more resources you can take advantage of. There's two types of people in your settlement. Your general workers that'll automatically do whatever task you give them, like moving goods and new constructions, and they can be assigned to different buildings that need to be managed, like the sawmill or the trapper. And there's your specialists, which are the security of the camp, fighting off aggressive mutant animals, raiders when they arrive, and they're also the ones that you can send out into the world map where they can find more resources, discover other settlements to trade with, and take out raider camps that are hoarding resources. Although I'm pretty sure that this makes you the raider. I mean, they're just sitting there, being all peaceful, they don't attack, and you go in and take what you want. Anyway, the world map is a little janky and not the best part of the game. It does feel a little bit like an afterthought, but there's still a ton of benefit for the time you put in there, like finding the rarest resources that you can't make yourself until very late in the game. The disasters in the game are fun and challenging. There's radiation and electrical storms, pandemics, like the one we're in now, and heat waves that all need their own unique countermeasures. Like for the heat waves, you have to oversupply your water and make sure, because you lose 50% of your production and your crops start to die, so you have to harvest them early. And you need to make sure that there's enough water for all of your med tents need water and your farms need water. Anyway, there's a bunch of stuff to do along the way. Early on in the game, you need to rebuild a security wall that protects your community from outsiders, and once you do that, you'll attract new survivors to join the colony. I try to accept everyone, but keep an eye on your resources or you won't be able to handle newcomers. Because sometimes you can let them in and they'll eat too much and you don't have the food supply or you don't have a house for them yet and they just get upset. There's also raider groups that'll try to sell you hostages or threaten violence if you don't pay them off, usually with food or weapons. They'll attack the gate, but they're usually pretty easy to fight off if the gate is in full repair. There's also some folks that show up looking for a trade, which can usually be in your benefit. The mechanics of the game are pretty smooth and the user interface is easy to navigate. They keep adding new functionality with each new update. I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And what's not easily accessed in the main screen, you can find in the stats menu. Here you can find all sorts of numbers for everything going on in your colony. The graphics, unfortunately, are a touch underwhelming as far as resolution goes, but there's a ton of really great artistic details everywhere, and you can get a little bit more immersive of an experience by taking advantage of the 360-degree view and zooming way in on the action, where you can start to actually hear a little bit more detail in the audio as well about what's going on in your screen. In an earlier release of the game, the fun dried up around the 200-day and 100 survivor count, but the latest update doubled that, making each iteration you play worth hours of quality building time. And now, you don't need to feel like you have to stop building for a lack of workers, because that was one of the first things that happened to me. I just simply ran out of workers to run the new buildings I wanted to do to make my colony better. The game is still in early access and showing at least 5 more updates coming. I know they've been slowed down by the pandemic here. They were supposed to have an update in July. It didn't happen. Hopefully it comes out soon. I'm really looking forward to it. But the game is still very fun the way it is, and it's well built, and it promises to get even better. It's available on Steam with a price tag of $19.99, and I think that's well worth it. And I think that they're offering discounts now. I got my copy for $10, and I think it's supposed to go up as they get closer to their full release, which won't be until early 2021. Overall, I think this game is worth your time for anyone who's into city builders and loves the post-apocalypse genre. Between the art, the challenges, a solid UI, and replayability, I'm loving this game, so check it out and let me know what you think. Surviving the Aftermath is definitely the game I wish Fallout Shelter was, although that was a freemium game, so I may be comparing Mutfruits to Tarberries. That's a little Fallout joke for you Fallout fans. Okay guys, well that's it for this game review. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't yet and hit the bell so you always get notifications when I put up new updates, new uploads, new upticks. Thanks as always to my Patreon supporters, and make sure to check out my online store, The Apocalypse Outpost, where I've added these brand new Apocalypse Post patches and these fantastic guitar picks in sets of 6 for all you music lovers out there. All the money earned through this store goes right back into the channel, so I appreciate your support no matter how you like to show it. All right, that's it. I'll see you next time, survivors. Stay alive.